But strangely, at this moment, I am actually feeling quite relaxed.
Hey.
Welcome to Working Title, the show where we talk about books, movies, and everything in between. It's over. It's finally over. I just talk about this, and then I never have to talk about it again. Oh no. Nothing good follows that laugh.
Jeffrey Dahmer! Stop!
God damn it, I did say I was going to talk about the fanfiction. I'm not talking about it until summer. No earlier, maybe later, I don't know. But we're talking about After Everything, which, if we're ranking the titles of these movies, this one is significantly better than After Ever Happy. I hate that title as much as I hate that movie. After Everything is the, hopefully, final movie in the After series. I recommend you listen to my previous episodes about these movies. I go into a lot more detail about this series. We once again have Josephine Langford as Tessa Young, Hero Finnis Tiffin as Hardin Scott, and Ariel Kebbel as Kimberly. We also have Chance Perdomo of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina fame as Landon. I forgot to mention it in my review of After Ever Happy, but he also plays Landon in that movie. Castile Landon also returns as director. Please tell me she's improved. I was unable to find the budget for this movie, but it reportedly made $10.6 million in the box office. After Everything is an outlier, though, as it's technically After Ever Happy Part 2. That's why in my After Ever Happy review, I was calling that the final movie, because it's the final book in the series. This movie actually appears to have done well, currently sitting at a 79% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, currently making it the highest ranking After movie to date. So with my hopes being high, what's it like really? Let's find out together. Spoiler warning for After Everything. Okay, so why did an After movie make me cry? I really like this movie. I still think the first one is the best, but this is a very close second. So what happens? We open on a wedding. I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Correct? What? No!
I promise it will come back. We cut to Hardin at his apartment. He's reeling after the events of the last movie, which I want to go on a tangent real quick. After the book that Hardin writes, yeah, that doesn't get confusing at all, should have gotten sued by Tessa. There is no way in hell he should have been able to publish a book with her name about her life without her permission. But anyway, Hardin is struggling to write a second book. He goes to a meeting with his publisher, which leads to them going to a club where Hardin proceeds to get wasted. The next day, Hardin goes to lunch with his mom and Vance, who now seems to be trying to be more of a father figure for Hardin. Vance gets frustrated because Hardin is behind on turning in the manuscript for his second book. Vance ends up leaving for some work call, and Hardin and his mom talk. She tells him that she talked to Natalie. Now, who's Natalie, you may ask? All you need to know right now is that she's an ex of Hardin. Apparently, she lives in Portugal now, so Hardin decides to go there to try and make amends with her. This is another positive of the movie, setting it in Portugal. It allows for some really beautiful shots. I'm a simple girl. I like drone shots of an aesthetic beach. He moves to Portugal and finds Natalie, who works at a dress shop. He tells her that he wants to make amends, but she's resistant at first, which is understandable, and I'll explain why in a bit. But I really like Natalie. She's a lot of fun, and she really pushes Hardin out of his shell. I just love their friendship. Hardin goes to a bar where Natalie finds him. They have some drinks and go and get some food. The two of them talk, and Natalie says that she was supposed to go to college, but after her relationship with Hardin, she wanted a fresh start. So what did happen with Hardin? He gets some flashbacks throughout the movie, and it gets brought up quite a bit, but essentially it's the same thing that happened with Tessa, but way worse. Do you remember the first movie when Hardin made a bet that he could get Tessa to fall for him and he was going to break up with her? Well, with Natalie, Hardin made a bet with his friends that he could sleep with her. Of course, they would need proof. So Hardin filmed it and sent the video to his friends, who proceeded to send the video around and ruin Natalie's life. So that's what Hardin wants forgiveness for. To be fair, she does appear to put it behind her and is very willing to help Hardin. He meets some of her friends, and some guys convince him to go cliff diving, much to Natalie's chagrin. One of the guys is named Seth, but for some reason in my notes I kept calling him the guy. The scene where they go cliff diving kind of reminds me of New Moon, which is fitting because Hardin is kind of in his New Moon era. Some time passes and they go to a party where Natalie and her girlfriends go to dance. Seth reveals that he knows who Hardin is and what he did. After Hardin starts dancing with the girls, Seth pushes Hardin, which leads to Hardin headbutting him, and Seth and his friend beat him up. Hardin gets arrested and Vance bails him out. They have a conversation where Vance basically says, "Stop being a dumbass." And get this, Hardin admits his own faults. Honestly, I really didn't like this movie at first, but it won me over. After this, Hardin gets his life together, he stops drinking, he writes his second book, titled Before, which I checked and is an Anna Todd book. It follows Hardin's life before he met Tessa. Before he leaves Portugal, he brings Natalie the rough draft to get her blessing. He's learning. I'm so proud. I totally forgot to mention Landon is getting married to his girlfriend from the last movie, Nora, and Hardin is his best man. So Hardin goes to the wedding, and he finally gets to talk to Tessa. After a speech about soulmates, they talk, and
then they do the old devil's tango.
Tessa admits that she was nervous about what people would think of her. They confess their love for each other, and when I tell you I cried during this next part, I am not joking. Hardin gets down on one knee, takes off his ring, and proposes. And of course, Tessa says yes. The movie ends with a flash forward where Tessa and Hardin are married with one kid and another on the way. And Hardin has published another book. That book being After Ever Happy. I actually checked because I could have sworn that the cover was an actual cover at one point, but I couldn't find anything. We also see that Hardin bought Natalie her dream house, which is probably the sweetest thing he's ever done. We're doing something a little different here. I want to start with what I didn't like about it, which normally I wouldn't start with the negative, but I actually don't have a lot of negatives. Really, the only problem I have about this movie I came around on. The movie primarily follows Hardin. Tessa doesn't really come in until the end, and by this point in the series, I hated Hardin. But he gets actual character development, and I am so here for it. Now, what did I like? The writing was pretty good. Castile Landon, the director of the movie, also wrote it, and it has all of the things I loved about the first movie. Heartfelt moments, fun to watch sequences, and fucking comedy. Despite all of my problems with this series, it's really funny, and I don't see anyone talking about it. I already talked about this, but obviously I love the shots in this movie. I love Natalie. I think if you like Kate from Bridgerton, you'll like Natalie. They're pretty similar in their personalities. I also love Natalie's friendship with Hardin. Honestly, I'm just glad to see Hardin has friends. I feel like a proud parent right now. Overall, this is a really good movie. And I know I was hard on Castile Landon, but I think she's starting to grow on me. So, is After Everything a perfect movie? No. But I think it's the perfect send-off for this series. So that was After Everything. I really did not expect to like it as much as I did, and I highly recommend that you guys watch it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to suggest episodes, get updates on episodes, or you just want to chat, follow me on Twitter at ashleymariewt, or you can email me at ashleymariewt@gmail.com. Also, check my Tumblr. I do a lot of polls on there. And check out my Instagram if you want to see my crochet and knitting projects, or photos of my cats. If you want to watch the video version of this episode, you can check out the YouTube channel. If you're listening on YouTube, check out the, follow working title on Spotify. Until next time, peace out.
On to the next one, bitches!